It's time for Waking Up with Wesley. Today's forecast and weather-wide discussion with WLOX First Alert Weather's senior meteorologist, Wesley Williams.
Hello there, South Mississippi, and thank you for waking up with Wesley. I'm Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams. So we are starting off with a look at the weather headlines today, and it looks like it's going to stay warm. I know it's November, I know Thanksgiving is next week, and I know we even had a little mini visit from Old Man Winter last week. But it's gone. We ran out of that little cool snap, and now we've just been into the milder swing of things. So this week, we'll be on the mild side the week before Thanksgiving. And because it's so mild and because we're also introducing some humidity, that makes it really easy for fog to form. So we're going to take a look at when to expect that as we go into the upcoming week. Plus, even though the mornings are foggy, the rest of the days actually look pretty nice. Just a mix of sun and clouds, no inclement weather to get in your way of your travels or anything like that. However, one hiccup. Friday, a rain system could move in, and we'll track that for you in a few minutes. But let's get to what's happening right now during the 8 o'clock hour on your Monday morning. High pressure is a dominant feature in this part of the weather map. There's a little weak stationary front that's sitting to the south of that. There's a big temperature divide. On the northern side of that front, it's cooler. The southern side of that front, it's warmer. Take a look at these temperatures and you'll see what I mean. So it's pretty easy to see. We can literally draw on this front. I can analyze the temperatures on this map and draw the frontal location. I'd imagine we've got a low pressure located somewhere around there, probably a warm front. It's probably an occluded front, but we'll use just a warm front for now and draw it right about here. Now here's the thing. You only draw the warm front if it's moving. If it's not moving, it's called a stationary front. So we'd probably draw that. I did it backwards. Let's skip to the cold front. Let's draw that. So there's actually a cold front that's probably back through here. And so you have the cooler air behind the front, the warmer air ahead of it. And then right in the middle of those, that's where I am going to draw a stationary front. So that's probably the position now. The map I just showed you was the position a couple of hours ago. So we've already actually seen this frontal position move north in just the last 2 or 3 hours. And this movement is likely going to continue. There's also a cold front back here in Texas, but that's very not important because that's not going to bother us until maybe Friday. But that's what we're watching. The main feature here going to be, for South Mississippi, our main feature is going to be this warm air, as well as a little bit of humidity coming in from the south behind this warm front. The cool front was unable to advance all the way toward our coast, so our main weather feature going to be the warm front. And we take a look at the satellite and radar. There's not much moisture with this, so you're barely seeing a few clouds forming along that frontal boundary. If there's any rain, that's pretty much set up into Arkansas and North Mississippi. Very teeny tiny rain showers there, nothing to really write home about. So here's a look at the dew point map, and again I do wonder if the model might be a little bit too far southwest with the positioning of that drier air, since if I just analyze those temperatures, I think this front might be a little bit more northeast than this model lets on. Either way though, here's a look. Monday, the air is super dry in North Mississippi, completely crisp conditions near Tupelo. Meanwhile, on the coast, we're still kind of muggy. Dew points into the middle 60s. Fast forward to Tuesday, and that warm front advances considerably. So places in North Mississippi will see a rapid change over the next 24 hours from crisp to basically humid. Meanwhile, we just go from humid to a little bit more humid as we go from Monday to Tuesday. And we go from Tuesday to Wednesday, and again, we are seeing that sort of similar thing, more of the humidity. Here's a more zoomed in view of that for our dew points. So there is some nuance. Places that are north of the coast, like Wiggins, Lucedale, maybe y'all don't feel a bunch of humidity today compared to places that are closer to the coast, like Waveland, Gulfport, Biloxi, Pascagoula. Now, look at this map. I'm going to advance it 24 hours ahead. You see way more green on the map, right? So we're getting a good deal more humidity into South Mississippi. This is one of the reasons why fog is so easy to form, and I know that might be why you clicked on this video to talk about fog. We're going to get into detail on that. I just wanted to set the stage for you and help you understand with, you see the Monday, but definitely Tuesday and Wednesday setup, a lot of moisture, a lot of mugginess here. And so that can materialize as a fog cloud. It did so this morning in parts of our area. Hancock County, we observed fog on some of our cams, and that happened in Pearl River County too. Look at this picture, amazing picture that was sent to us from Alan in the WLOX weather app. We shared this on social media earlier this morning. Checking out Stennis rising above the Monday morning fog cloud in Hancock County. Really just kind of a really amazing picture you took for us there, Alan. Thank you for sending that to the WLOX weather app. I'll actually make this full screen so y'all can get a better look at it. That's one of those rocket engine testing towers over at Stennis Space Center. And when we make it a little bit bigger there, you can really just see how that fog cloud obscures the bottom part of the image. But this tower is so tall that it actually rose above the fog. And then you got the other clouds higher up in the sky. So you got the fog cloud, sky cloud, and right there in between the two, the peak of one of our South Mississippi mountains, if you will, a very tall rocket engine testing tower there in Hancock County. Now here's Gulfport sunrise. Not a whole lot of fog there, but we did get a little touch of clouds at times, but overall pretty nice. During the 8 o'clock hour, the fog is still mainly over Louisiana, and it is clearing out. So this has been a trend that we've noticed. They are under a dense fog advisory. You'll note that there is no dense fog advisory for our coast, but I do wonder if it will stay that way. I bet we're going to see one of those as we go to the next few days. But here's a look at the last few hours, and you can see Pearl River in Hancock County, foggy during the 6 o'clock hour, still foggy in some of those spots during the 7 o'clock hour. And then during the 8 o'clock hour, we are starting to see some of that fog clearing in some of our western zones. So the planner, as we go into the remainder of your Monday, looking like a nice looking day. So other than this morning's fog, it's actually a pretty beautiful day with a mix of sun and clouds. No rain to get in your way, even though we could use some since we're in a drought. Temperatures will rise to the upper 70s and lower 80s though. And for November, that is not usual. It's more of an October type temperature to get close to 80 degrees in the afternoon. And then we got to talk about when we can expect the next round of fog. So here it is tonight and mainly after midnight. So your planner showing that possibility primarily after midnight, after 1 in the morning tomorrow. And that's when the fog could possibly develop. Now, we do have some computer models that try to guess exactly where the fog will form and try to guess how dense the fog will be. And they don't always do a good job of that. I'm going to be pretty frank with you in regards to how easily something is predicted. Fog is one of the trickiest things that I find that our high-resolution computer models try to predict. They very rarely get it right with good precision. But if you're not trying to be too precise and try to know exactly which town gets fog, exactly which hour it will be foggy for, and you try to, not be so precise, but instead just get a general idea, that's what I do think that these computer models are good for. And the general pattern is that we are expecting some fog somewhere on Tuesday morning, that's tomorrow morning, and maybe even more widespread fog on Wednesday morning. And then maybe some of the fog might turn a little bit denser as it stays widespread as we go to Thursday. But again, that might be reading too much into the tea leaves, and you might just want to be more generalized about it and just say fog is possible Tuesday morning, fog is possible Wednesday morning, fog is possible Thursday morning, and try not to get too lost in the details of how dense, exactly where. But just wanted to give you that general heads up, the general first alert that if we do find the fog becoming more widespread, if we do find the fog becoming denser, you should not be surprised if you find a dense fog advisory issued for South Mississippi any of the mornings this week, basically. So yeah, we're going to be feasting on fog the week before Thanksgiving. And you might want to preheat the oven here. We're talking about preheating the oven. Temperatures going into the upper 70s, lower 80s. It is warm compared to normal. And, you know, if we had Thanksgiving this week, it'd be dry turkey because there's hardly any rain. The best chance of rain coming in Friday, and that's with a rain system that moves in from the west. Our 7-day forecast shows that the rain system does not stick around the whole weekend. Today's models, if you look at the futurecast for Friday, and I can't wait to look at this again tomorrow and look at it again the day after tomorrow to see how much this is going to change back and forward on the exact timing. But for today, for Monday's edition of Waking Up with Wesley, the timing shows that the rain tries to move into South Mississippi around midday, sticks around into Friday afternoon, and parts of Friday evening. But you'll notice by the evening hours, we're already starting to see a decrease. And then maybe by Friday night, it's pretty much all gone. And the general trend could be toward a decrease in rain chance as we go from Friday into Saturday, Sunday. I'm not locking in these rain chance numbers just yet. I want to see, I mean, this is my first day back at work after my weekend, so this is my first look at the computer models. And in order for me to gain an idea of model consistency, I need to see these models multiple days in a row to see the trend. Are they trending with good agreement? Are they trending with disagreement? That helps me to figure out how best to weigh those rain chances for the weekend. I think Friday's looking pretty good. I think we got a good idea that a rain system will move in on Friday, but I do currently see some uncertainty for the days after Friday. It is uncertain how much of the rain will stick around. Some models today are showing it gone for Saturday. Some information today is showing that maybe we still keep hold of some rain in the area at times on Saturday as well as at times on Sunday. One thing, though, that I do want to point out is that maybe we can sneak in some cooler morning 50s once we get to Sunday morning. So I know we're going to get a stretch of mild mornings here, but if you have been missing that cooler feel in the morning, we might be able to get back to that. You can see Sunday morning does call for a 58. And, you know, our 10-day forecast leads right on up to Thanksgiving Eve. You know, this is a 10-day forecast including today, including Monday. So that's why it does not show Thanksgiving Thursday. But if you did include Thanksgiving Thursday and maybe omit today, then the 10-day forecast would show Thursday. But right now, there's no major cool downs between today, Monday, November 17th, and next Wednesday, November 26th. The only cool down I can find is basically a very slight one as we go from 77 on Saturday afternoon to 72 next Monday afternoon, Monday the 24th. Tuesday the 25th, 73. Wednesday the 26th, 72. Now, if you actually do have our First Alert weather app, I do think the forecast does go into Thanksgiving Thursday. And as I edited it this morning, it actually does show cooler conditions for Thursday. We'll talk more about that in tomorrow's edition of Waking Up with Wesley, but I do just want to give you, if you're kind of bummed out about it not being cool enough for Thanksgiving, it does look that way in the days leading up to it. But if the early signs are right, maybe on actual Thanksgiving Thursday, we could get a little bit cooler. Highs could drop into the 60s for Thanksgiving Thursday afternoon. I don't have the graphic to show you that. It's in our app. If you open our First Alert weather app, or if you open our WLOX.com/weather website, you'd see that in the day's forecast. But once we get to tomorrow, it will be all into my computer graphics that I can show you more details about the holiday outlook. Well, that'll pretty much do it for this edition of Waking Up with Wesley. I've been Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams. We'll see you again next time.
Thank you for watching Waking Up with Wesley with WLOX First Alert Weather Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams.